Hello YouTube folks, welcome to my channel. My name is Steph and today I'm going to be finally fulfilling a promise I made in 2023 to do top 10 worst reads of 2023. So I'm going to be doing top 10. These are all my 1 stars and 2 stars. Some of them are DNFs. I include DNFs because technically I did take some time to read them, right? I did read a little bit, so I include DNFs. Light spoilers, I am going to be talking about why I didn't like it, and that might be a reason that happens at the end of the book or something like that. And the books we're talking about today will be in order from 10th worst to first worst. And you know, these fluctuate depending on my mood. Sometimes my feelings about one particular book changes depending on the day. Let's get into it. So, first book, 10th worst book I read, and this made me so sad because I know a lot of people really like this book, is Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I gave this book 2 stars. I did finish this one. This book is about Dracula and his wives, or his 2 wives and his 1 husband, right? And the wives and husband were constantly scared of Dracula's wrath. They were so scared of upsetting him. They always were trepidatious around him and very meticulous and particular about how they talk to him and how to not make him upset. But we never saw him upset. So there was never a point in the book where I was actually scared for them whenever they were scared for themselves, because I didn't know what they were up against. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish we had seen Dracula actually get upset, had justification for why they were so scared of him. But we never saw it. Even in the very end, like a very big like betrayal or whatever, the big ending situation, like we still didn't like it was described as him being like letting go of everything. And it was like, okay, I wanted to see him angry so I could understand why they were so scared. However, I will say the vibes in that book are really great and it's really well written. I'd be very interested to read something else by S.T. Gibson, because maybe it was just like that concept didn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? Book number 9 in my top 10 worst reads of 2023 is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I hope I said that right. This was a DNF, and this one was also 2 stars. And I think it was just one of those situations where it wasn't right book, right time, because I loved the concept. I loved the African mythology, the magic system, the adventure style writing. I thought it was really exciting, but like I was not interested or sold on like the chosen one trope. That was like such a deep through line for this book. I don't know. I think, and there are some chosen one books that I'm really into, that I'm really interested in, but for some reason this one just wasn't hitting for me. And the whole time, like, the main person is like shocked that she's the chosen one, and I was like, why are you surprised? You were the chosen one in every other situation. Why are you surprised you're the chosen one in this situation too? So that one was a DNF. I think I DNF'd it at like halfway, almost halfway maybe. And it was a 1 star, which I usually give DNFs 1 star because it's hard to like critique a book you didn't finish. But I still had opinions, so I still give it a star rating on my Goodreads and stuff. But I gave it 2 stars because I really liked the concept and like the background work for this book. I just didn't like the chosen one trope. It was too much. The story was too dependent on it, and it just wasn't for me. Oh my gosh, this is a little embarrassing. Okay, so book number 8, 8th worst read of 2023, was The Beautiful Creatures manga, which was illustrated by Kami Garcia. I loved this series when I was a kid. Oh my god, some of my lights just fell. That scared the crap out of me. I loved Beautiful Creatures when I was a kid, and a lot of I like read it with some of my childhood friends. I think I read it in middle school. Like, I was really young reading this series, and I have not read it since. And I saw the manga in my local library, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, I love illustration adaptations of stories that tickled my peach when I was a kiddo. So I picked this up. I knew I would finish it in like one sitting. And let me tell you first, the art is incredible. Kami Garcia did a really, really good job drawing this first book, the Beautiful Creatures book in the Beautiful Creatures series. But I forgot how horribly racist the series is. It's really racist. It's like takes place in the antebellum South, and everyone's like a Confederate soldier, and like she's treated like crap, the main girl, because she looks different, and so this was also a 2 stars, and that 1 extra star is just because the art was good. Like I would love to see a manga by Kami Garcia that isn't Beautiful Creatures. I just can't believe that I liked it so much as a kid. I literally have it. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Somewhere in there. It's somewhere in there. I loved this series so much as a kid. But it's so rough skittles. So rough skittles. So 2 stars. 2 stars for that. Beautiful Creatures, the manga specifically. It was just like the first book specifically. The next book on this list, and this was also a bit of a disappointment because I was really excited to read this. I think I read it for a book club or something. There was some incentive for why I read it. Was The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I'm like not a sci-fi girly. I've said that in past videos. There are very few sci-fi books that have really hit for me because, and I actually had a discussion recently with a friend of mine who was like, sci-fi is like the only genre he reads. Like he's like Asimov or die. You know what I'm saying? I think it's because I'm a character reader. I love characters, and sci-fi is not about characters. It's about like world and politics and socioeconomics in other worlds. And that's wonderful and great. It's just not for me. I need good characters. And Left Hand of Darkness, I really liked the world. I really loved the like philosophical and social conversation about what a universe would look like if there was no gender, and kind of like critiquing both no gender and like strict gender dichotomies in society, and like the implications it has on the economy and government and stuff like that. I loved that part of the book. What I didn't love was the characters of the plot. I didn't. Well, there was one character I liked. I don't remember the name, but the person from the no gender world who traveled with the person from the gender world. I liked him. Or them, right? Like, I wanted more to happen. I wanted it to be less sci-fi-y. And more of a story, like a story. Not that sci-fi is like not a story. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for sci-fi. There are a lot of really incredible stories that have come out of sci-fi, and a lot of really interesting critiques through a fictitious genre of our society and economy and government and all that kind of stuff in the sci-fi genre. Like, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for sci-fi. I just really need characters that sell me. I really need characters that make me feel something, because I struggle to feel something when it's just like a world that I'm looking at. Like, I almost, in my conversation with my friend, I said I wish Ursula K. Le Guin just wrote a nonfiction book about our society and how we address gender and how gender affects and implicates everything, and comparing that to a fictitious world where gender doesn't exist, and kind of seeing that parallel there. Like, I wish it was a nonfiction book, because you know, I'm really into, like, gender topics. That's what I went to college for. But I just wasn't sold on the story. All right, next book, another disappointment. I mean, these are all disappointments, right? These are my 2 and 1 stars, so none of these were not surprising. Is Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I watched the TV series on Netflix, and I loved it. I love horror, especially when it's emotional horror. I feel like there's a huge difference between just like gimmicky, flashy horror, which I have a lot of respect for, and I certainly enjoy every once in a while, and like horror that like hits you in the throat. I love that kind of horror. And I read this book after I watched the show, and that was just a mistake. Because it's very different. Haunting of Hill House on Netflix is very different from Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And I was also excited to read Shirley Jackson. That was my first Shirley Jackson book because she was very much like a catalyst of that specific type of like psychological horror thriller in the horror genre. And she was a woman writer in a time where not a lot of female writers got highly publicized and famous. So that was really cool. But it was kind of, I don't know, like when I was reading it, I envisioned it more like a Clue game. And then in the very like last 7 pages, it was like suddenly the psychological thriller that everybody's crazy cabanas for. Yeah, so I was just disappointed. I wanted it to be scarier all throughout, and I think I wanted it to be more similar to the Netflix show, but just know it's nothing like that. It's just about this girl who like goes to this mansion, she's told a story, and then while she's in the mansion, like things go bump in the night and it makes her go crazy, and then she leaves the mansion. That's like the whole book. It's a pretty short read, but I was really disappointed. I was let down because it just wasn't scary to me. And maybe that's just because the horror genre has evolved to be scarier. But yeah, I think I gave that one 2 stars. Was that 2 stars? 2 stars. 2 stars. All right, the next book on this list is Black Paradox by Junji Ito. We're staying on that horror trend, right, friends? I love Junji Ito. I have Tomi right there. Boop, right next to my little candle. Love Junji Ito. I've seen a couple of the adaptations for television. Again, I think Netflix has like a series of like TV adaptations of some of Junji Ito's short stories. But I picked up Black Paradox because it was on like the new release shelf at my local library, and I was pretty interested. I was pretty excited to read it, and it was such a letdown again. It wasn't scary. I mean, some of the if body horror like really bothers you, if you don't like bodies being ripped up, then maybe Black Paradox would scare you, but I don't. I, again, need like that character. Like, I need characters to show me scary. I can't just like look at a dismembered body and be like that doesn't bother me. So, and it was really short, and then the ending was so let down. Like, spoiler, it's about these group of people who find like this magic orb and they think they can sell it for a lot of money. And this is only after they made like a, what's it called, like a suicide pact to like these 4 really depressed people that don't know each other for various reasons, just want to like commit suicide altogether. And then they find this orb, and it like lives in your body, and it opens a portal, and only you can go in and out of it. It makes like a doppelganger or whatever. And then the government like wants to capitalize on this other portal, which, surprise, surprise, right? And in the end, the 4 characters are like, actually, we're gonna be super villains, and we're gonna take over the world with our magic orb power. Yeah. And I was like, okay. I don't know, I wanted the ending to be a little less, like, kitschy, you know? Like, it was a little bit like how, like, a DC comic series would end, like, how I envisioned that. It was just, I don't know, it wasn't scary, and I went in wanting to be scared the way I was when I read Tomi. So, Black Paradox, 2 stars. Alright, friends, I had to get up for a second to grab a pencil, because I feel like I was skipping something, but I wasn't. I'm on track. We're getting into 1-star territory. We're getting into 1 star. These are my top 4 worst reads. These are my only 1 stars. The DNFs are probably going to upset some people. I'm so sorry in advance. Let me explain myself. 4th worst book, 1 star, in a DNF. Don't click away, don't click away. 4th Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here is the situation. I had just recently joined a book club. That was the book club read, like, right after it came out. So it wasn't, like, blowing up the way it still is today. I listened to the audiobook. It's a really long audiobook. It's a really long book. And I was excited. A lot of people were saying they were enjoying it. It wasn't overhyped yet. I was excited. I love dragons. I love steamy romance. I love fantasy worlds. I love fictitious war. And I love strong female main characters that represent some diversity, because I know she has like some sort of physical disability, the main character. I got to exactly 50% of the audiobook before I had to finish it. I had to finish it. And it made me really sad because I really wanted to be part of the fandom. I really wanted to understand the hype. But it's not even necessarily the writing style that bothered me. It was the writing style of the dialogue. That's what drove me crazy. I hated the way these characters talked to each other. It was so annoying. And the main girl being like, he's so hot, incredibly hot, undeniably hot. I was like, nobody thinks like that. Nobody thinks that, unless you're 13. And this girl's supposed to be like 19 or whatever, 20. And she's like in college age. And she's like, everyone talks like an absolute imbecile. And maybe I did hate some of the story as well because the like love triangle I was completely not sold on. Like whoever, not Zayden, the other guy who was like hyper productive and like so rude and annoying all the time. He made me so mad. I was like, what is appealing about this character? There was never a single moment where I was like, oh, that was nice of him. It was always like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I loved the dragons, but and it only just started at the point where I stopped, so maybe I would have been sold on it later. But I hated that they talked. Like, I wish they were just like this ethereal, magical animal creature, completely non-humanoid, that you form some sort of like internal connect. Like, it was very Aragon, which, let's not forget, Aragon is written for middle schoolers. So I had to DNF it. I had to. And I also like was sick of the tall, dark, brooding guy trope that supposedly we're all supposed to fall in love with. I'm just not into that. I need a man to be a little more interesting in order to like him. I can't just do hot. I can't just do hot. I need more. I need to actually like this man, more than just the appeal of him being hot and unavailable, because supposedly they're enemies, right, to lovers. Oh my god, so many things. Oh, and another reason why I didn't like this book is because the main girl got in so many fights, and if she actually had a physical disability that made her like hurt more or made like being strong harder, like she literally would have been dead by the point that I DNF'd this book. She had gotten in so many fights, she like kept getting her ribs broken and stuff, and like I was like, if somebody who actually had some sort of physical disability like Crohn's or MS or whatever kept getting in these kinds of fights, they like, that is not feasible. That is not viable. That is not, like, you can't just say somebody has a physical disability and then have them do all this crazy stuff that literally would kill somebody who has an actual physical disability. So I don't know, it just felt like one big fat ugly trope. And I know a lot of people are critiquing the second book because like it's less of sort of the tropiness of the first book. So I don't know, maybe in like 10 years when the fame and fortune has dwindled down, I will pick that book, Fourth Wing Up, so I can read the second book and see if I like it better. I just couldn't do it, y'all. I couldn't do it. I wanted to. I wanted to really bad. I really did. When you hype a book up that much and then it's that mid, I can't do it. I did make it halfway though. Alright, third worst read, 2023. I made a whole rant video about this. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. So many reasons why this book sucks. Just so many. So many reasons why this book sucks. Please go watch this video for more in-depth reasons as to why I hate that video literally so much. Yeah. Girl, 2 different eye colors, kills people on accident, everyone dies around her. She can see death when she almost dies because she can't die no matter how much she poisons herself with belladonna. Goes to a mansion, falls in love with death. There's a mystery about why her aunt died or whatever. She doesn't even solve the mystery even though it's a huge part of the plot. It's just like told to her by the person who killed her aunt. And there's tentacle sex. Death has shadow tentacles and has sex with the main girl. Second worst read, and this one is a 1-star that I did finish. I don't know why. Why did I do it? Why? I don't know. I think I just really wanted to see a specific ending, and that ending didn't happen. And that book is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. Bazterrica? I hope I said that right. This book is awful. It's disgusting. And maybe that's the point. Ugh. But essentially it's about this world where some sort of disease has made all animals die or not edible, so nobody can eat meat anymore. So they start farming humans to eat meat, as though there's no protein in like beans or spinach or anything like that, right? Nuts can't live without meat, can we? So they start farming humans, and the humans like get their tongues cut off and their arms and legs cut off so that they can't run away. And women, humans that are being farmed are like being bred, and it's just really grotesque and icky. And this man who works at a human farm rescues one of the women, locks her up in his shed, and R-words her. She gets pregnant, and his wife, who can't get pregnant, and him decide to keep the baby, and he kills her, the human farm woman who he R-worded a lot and stole the baby of. And him and his wife live happily ever after, working in the farm and breeding humans to be eaten and tortured, and yeah, just gross. And like I said, maybe that's the point, and maybe it was very effective in the way that I read it, but I really did not appreciate the further depiction of like male abuse against women who are easy to take advantage of. Like, this woman didn't have a tongue, and he was like, I love you, you're beautiful, blah blah blah, like, I saved you, you're not gonna get eaten, here's how to tie your shoes and use a pan to cook food, like. And then the second she gave him something he didn't already have, he abandoned her, and the human farms lived on. And I think I was hoping, it's not that I was hoping for like him to destroy the factory and humans not to be eaten anymore and he saves the world, hooray, like that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying like the ending should have been like a happily ever after, but what I am saying is I didn't appreciate the lack of remorse that the main character had for abusing this completely tortured soul of a woman to the degree that he did. And it just really upset me. And if you like that stuff, like, it kind of has like Lobster vibes. I'm gonna be straight up with you guys, I don't recommend this book. Don't think it does what literature should do. I think it paints men in a way that is really unforgiving, and I think it paints abuse as much more extreme and less nuanced than it could be, and it was just gross. I hated it. I don't recommend it. I'm sorry to anyone who likes it, who thinks it's excellent lit fic, but I didn't like it. Second worst book. And the worst book of 2023, which I DNF'd like not even a chapter in. It was for my local library book club. I was so excited to join that book club, and this was the book, and it was disgusting. And I realized that maybe this generation of people who go to this book club don't read the kind of stuff that I enjoy. But this is Seating Arrangements by Maggie Shipstead. I don't know if I said that right. It's basically like Mamma Mia, but with a twist. It's about this girl who's getting married, and her parents have this fancy boathouse or whatever on an island. I don't know. They're rich and Mamma Mia vibes. And the father of the girl getting married is in the first chapter. I don't even know if it's multiple POV. I don't even know if this has like a life outside of this first chapter, but I thought this was so gross that I had to put it down. the father of the girl getting married is like obsessed with one of her college friends. And like the whole first chapter, he's like, I can't believe we're doing this wedding. I'm so grumpy and angry at everything. My wife is ugly. Everyone's annoying. I hate the world. Oh, but that girl, she's so pretty. When she would visit when they were in college, she would brush my hand with hers, and I would stay up all night thinking about it. And she looked so gorgeous in her dress. It was slinky, and I was like, I don't want to read about a 40 to 50-year-old man oogling and ogling at a recently graduated college girl. I don't care that she's of age. I don't care that she's probably like 21 or 22. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Disgusting. Just wasn't for me. And like I said, maybe the rest of the book is hilarious and fabulous the way everyone thinks it is. Maybe that POV never comes up. That conversation never comes up. You never hear from this man again. I don't care. I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it relatable the way this book describes itself to be. And I thought it was really in poor taste. And I just don't want to hear about older men who hate their wives and hate their lives being sexually interested in 22-year-olds. So that wraps up my top 10 worst books of 2023. I feel like it kind of took a dark turn at the end. I was being silly in the beginning, and then I got like really serious. And I apologize for that, but you know, you DNF a book or you give it a 2 or 1 star rating for a reason. And that's because it doesn't click with you, or it's not for you, or you can't relate to it, or the writing style's not for you, whatever. There's so many reasons to not finish a book. Maybe it's just you're not in the mood for it. I don't think I'm a mood reader because I'm constantly reading. Like, there's never a point where I'm not in the middle of a book. But there are times where my mood affects my perception of what I'm reading. So I'm not gonna say that I recommend any of these books. Maybe Children of Blood and Bone, Left Hand of Darkness. Those books I feel like could be really great for some people, or a lot of people maybe, just not people with my taste, or maybe just me, I don't know. But all the other books, I think I don't recommend them. Top 10 worst reads of 2023. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little book hater video. Sorry this came so late. I know it's like February is almost over and I'm still talking about 2023, but totally blanked and forgot to do this earlier in this year. But I hope you enjoy. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want. I'm not your mother. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.